So I'm going to be watching a video that apparently this guy is saying that that video that we all thought was a hoax is actually real. And this should be interesting. I mean, we'll see my raw reaction of what this guy has to say. You know, if it is indeed the actual, the original video is indeed an actual video of Bigfoot itself and not of a man dressed in a big ass monkey suit. And we'll see what this video is all about. Let's see what this guy has to say.
So what if I told you that the biggest Bigfoot hoax in history is actually real, and that the proof of that lies in the lies of people claiming otherwise? Since 1967, the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot film has been at the center of an ongoing debate regarding its authenticity. Skeptics argue it's merely a man in a suit, and if you're at all familiar with this famous film, you're no doubt also familiar with the ongoing controversy surrounding it. Today we'll dissect these claims of fraud, scrutinize their inconsistencies, and there are many, and present expert analyses that challenge the man in a suit theory. Section 1. Bob Hieronymus, the man in a suit claim. Bob Hieronymus came forward in 1998, asserting that he was the individual in the Patterson-Gimlin film, wearing a suit. He stated, quote, "I was the guy in the suit," end quote. However, his narrative contains several inconsistencies. Initially, Hieronymus described the suit as being made of horsehide, noting it, quote, "smelled bad."
It does obviously look like that could be a guy in a suit. I mean, you can even tell that maybe you can see sort of like the skin of the human right there. Like this could be totally a mask. You can see how, you know, people would think this is fake and, you know. But, I mean, I'm open-minded. I'm willing to change my mind.
Bad, end quote. Later, he mentioned it was crafted from a synthetic material. Such contradictions raise serious questions about the credibility of his account. Moreover, Hieronymus has not provided any physical evidence of the suit whatsoever. No photographs, receipts, or remnants of the so-called suit have been produced to substantiate his claim. This absence of tangible proof further undermines his story. Then we have Bill Munns, a special effects expert from Hollywood, who has analyzed the film and remarked, quote, "The fur texture in the film doesn't resemble any animal pelt I've worked with, and it certainly isn't horsehide. It would have been impossible to achieve that effect in 1967 with the available materials."
In 1967, that is crazy. So that is when this video was captured. I did not know it was that long ago. 1967. Jesus Christ. That, I mean, back in that era, I mean, Planet of the Apes, you know, the movies. I mean, I feel like the first one had just come out, or maybe will come out. For an everyday person to have the capability or maybe the know-how to create a Bigfoot suit like that with such great detail, I mean, it would have been a very complex and very it would be a very tremendous project to take on. And for what? Just to kind of fake it, just to kind of like, I don't know, seems like a lot of work just to fake a small little video, especially back in the 1960s. I mean, you didn't have any social media. You didn't have really a lot. There wasn't really a lot of incentive to fake stuff. But then again, I mean, people are people. I mean, people will always find ways to deceive and, you know, joke on, you know, make pranks or you know, hoax. I mean, it's not out of the realm of the possibility.
End quote. Adding to the skepticism, Hieronymus's own brother, Howard, expressed doubt about the hoax claim, stating, quote, "I don't believe the film was a hoax, and I don't believe Bob was in the suit," end quote. If the guy's own brother doesn't believe him about it being a suit, and doesn't believe he was in the suit, then what are we really talking about here? Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, I should add, which should go without saying, that we are calling Hieronymus a liar. We're basically saying that he made this suit claim, but it's not substantiated, so we can't believe it. The big question I often get from skeptics is why? Why would the man make up such a story? Well, to me, the answer has always been rather obvious. Fame and prestige. When you see the way that Bob has signed books over the years, not even written by him, but books about this supposed hoax written by other people, and the way he appears in documentaries, you can clearly see that he's enjoying the prestige that comes with supposedly being Bigfoot. Section 2. Philip Morris, the suit maker claim. Philip Morris, a costume maker, claimed in 2002 that he sold a gorilla suit to Roger Patterson, one of the two men involved in capturing the film, stating, quote, "It was just a gorilla costume. I sold it to Roger Patterson over the phone for $435, end quote. However, Morris also has not provided any physical evidence to support his claim. No receipts, photographs, or sketches have been presented. When asked to recreate the suit, he did attempt to do so, but the results were very unconvincing and did not match the creature depicted in the film at all. And if you've seen photographs of the attempted recreation, you'll know how comically bad they are. And also, if he was the one who made and sold the suit as claimed, you'd think he would have another similar suit in stock that he could show as evidence to support his.
You can still see that it looks close. It's not like super far off. Especially if you brought the same camera that was used to film the original film and then you filmed the Morris recreation, you could probably, especially if you filmed this far away, as the original film, it was filmed from a very far distance, and only you were able to zoom in, and still, the quality back then with videos, it was very grainy, out of focus. You couldn't even tell exactly the exact detail of what you were looking at. All you could see was just that this massive creature just walking across the area into the forest. You could probably get the same effect with this recreation and probably look very similar. Me personally, just being super honest, it does look similar. Obviously, in terms of structure, in terms of maybe just especially here, the legs, you can see how very similar, the chest area, it's recreated very closely. Obviously, the color of the fur is not the same. This one's brown, this one's black, but it's very similar. So it's not impossible to fake this. It is possible if you put in the work. You can definitely fake it. But I don't know. Let's see what else the video has. Let's see what this guy has. What else can he explain?
His claim, but no. Additionally, Roger Patterson was known to be financially constrained at the time. Friends and associates have confirmed that he lacked the funds to purchase an expensive costume, casting further doubt on Morris's assertion. So if Philip Morris really was this legendary costume maker, capable of producing a gorilla suit so realistic that it fooled multiple experts across many fields for decades, the big question is, why couldn't he do it again? Why was he unable to reproduce what was supposedly his own work when asked to do so? He did attempt to, but again, the results are clearly laughable compared to the original. Why the sudden downgrade in his capabilities? Take a look at this frame from the recreation that Philip Morris did, a supposed copy of his own work from years earlier. Now take a look at this frame from the actual Patterson-Gimlin film.
So basically, this is the same guy supposedly that recreated his own work, apparently. So why not create the same suit, right? With the same colored fur, black, Even the proportions are kind of off too. This one looks more shorter, this one looks more taller. It's just the head, everything. If it was the exact same person, suit, and everything, and, and he was told to recreate it, you would obviously recreate it. It's your own work. You would be able to recreate it to the exact same detail and, with everything, proportion-wise. Even have the same person, just to show off, hey, yeah, I was the person that created the suit. and I am the one indeed responsible for this famous footage that I am famous for, or whatever. So that is interesting to know how different they actually are when you start really looking at them. You know, even as just the hair, I mean, the color of the hair should be similar.
Notice any differences? I see many. The loose folds of material on the recreation versus the flexed and visible muscles.
That's true.
And realistic hair texture on the original. Human-like limb proportions in the recreation attempt versus non-human-like limb proportions in the original. And just a very overall obvious realness to the frame from the original Patterson-Gimlin film, and an overall look of comedy and fraud in the recreation. Section 3. Greg Long, The Making of Bigfoot Claim. Greg Long, in his 2004 book, The Making of Bigfoot, The Inside Story, alleged that the Patterson-Gimlin film was a hoax orchestrated by Roger Patterson. Long claimed that Patterson's wife sewed the suit used in the film. However, this assertion also lacks corroborative evidence. Patricia Patterson, Roger's widow, has consistently denied these claims without wavering even an inch, stating that she had no involvement in creating any costume. Furthermore, Long's investigative methods have been criticized for relying heavily on anecdotal accounts and lacking verifiable documentation. There's a running theme here. The contradictions between Long's narrative and those of Hieronymus and Morris further undermine the credibility of the hoax theory as a whole. If Morris sold the suit as he claimed, then Patricia Patterson did not make it. These conflicting accounts suggest a lack of consensus among skeptics. Section 4. Anatomical impossibilities of the suit claim. I've touched on this before in other videos, but just quickly, the creature in the Patterson-Gimlin film exhibits anatomical features that are challenging to replicate with a costume. And I say challenging, but bordering on impossible is probably more accurate. First of all, we have arm length. The figure's arms are disproportionately long compared to a human's. Bob Hieronymus, nor any other normal human, does not possess such arm length, and using extensions in the arms of the suit as he claimed would result in very unnatural movements. They'd stick out like a sore thumb. Yet, the film shows fluid arm swings. Also, the position of the elbow in proportion to the overall length of the arm would be disproportionately high up on the arm if we were dealing with forearm prosthetics. But the elbow position seems perfectly natural. Then there's muscle movement. Observers have noted visible muscle movement under the fur of the creature in the film, particularly in the thighs and shoulders. John Chambers, another Hollywood special effects artist known for his work on the original Planet of the Apes series, commented, quote, "If someone faked this, they were 20 years ahead of us," end quote. Keep in mind, he was one of the top Hollywood costume guys of the time. Next, there's gait. The creature's walk is characterized by a compliant gait, a bent knee stride, uncommon in humans. Dr. Jeff Meldrum, an anthropologist, stated, quote, "The biomechanics of the creature's walk are consistent with a large non-human primate. It's not something a human could replicate without extensive mechanical aid." End quote. Section 5. Contradictory hoax claims. Various individuals, as we've already covered, have presented conflicting accounts regarding the alleged hoax. First, there's Bob Hieronymus, who claimed he wore the suit. Next, there's Philip Morris, asserting that he sold the suit to Patterson. And finally, we have Greg Long, suggesting that Patterson's wife sewed the suit from scratch. These contradictory narratives undermine the credibility of the hoax theory. If Morris sold the suit, then Patterson's wife did not make it. And if Hieronymus wore the suit, why can't he provide consistent details about it or replicate the walk convincingly? He has attempted to replicate the walk on camera before, but if you've seen it, you know that it's not really that close of an approximation. Maybe at first glance, if you're naturally skeptical, you might think that it is, but if you examine the details of the movement closely, it really isn't. Hieronymus and the film subject show significant differences in arm and torso angle, and the film subject has much more arm swing, far longer strides, and noticeably more bodily forward lean. Section 6. Expert testimonies. Experts have analyzed the Patterson-Gimlin film extensively and for a long time and provided insights. First, we have Dr. Grover Krantz, a physical anthropologist who stated, quote, The anatomical features of the creature in the film are far beyond what could be achieved by a costume. The proportions are not human, and the details visible in the film point to a living creature." End quote. Then there's Dr. Jeff Meldrum, who we've already talked about, an anthropologist specializing in primate locomotion, who noted, quote, "The biomechanics and footprints associated with the film are consistent with a real primate. If this is a hoax, it's the most sophisticated one ever created." End quote. And finally, there's Bill Munns, who we already touched on as well, a special effects expert who concluded, quote, "There is no evidence of any technology or materials in 1967 that could create what we see in the Patterson-Gimlin film. The more you study it, the more it looks like it's not a hoax." End quote. Now, I would challenge any open-minded skeptics, and I'm not talking about the ones who just like to sling mud, but the ones who actually want to get at the truth, to present a case based on greater knowledge in the fields mentioned than these three men. So, in conclusion, upon examining the claims and evidence, the man in a suit theory lacks credibility. The inconsistencies in testimonies, absence of physical evidence, and expert analyses all point towards the authenticity of the Patterson-Gimlin film. Well,
That's so true. It makes more sense. Think about it. This was filmed in 1967. The only other, movies that you saw that people were wearing monkey suits was Planet of the Apes. That came out in the late 1960s. Think about how different that looks. Most of the people just wore like maybe gloves, feet, prosthetic feet with fur, and then the makeup on the face with the mask and everything. For this to be done in 1967 with a full bodysuit and to be walking like that, like to have a creature like that or someone fake this, like the expert says, one of the special effects experts, this person faking this would have been 20 years ahead of the industry back then. It just kind of points more and more that this might actually be real. Not 100% real, but it's definitely leaning towards more that it could be for real. Like what we're seeing in this video back in 1967 is an actual sighting of Bigfoot, like that I can think of. That's it's just the way he moves, how he's just walking. There's like this weight to him, there's heaviness. Like this guy weighs a lot, and he's tall. Like you can see how massive this creature is. Just the way he's hunched over, just kind of his arms just swing. You can see how long they are, as opposed to how what a normal human, even if a human was at that length, it's not the same. The proportions are way different. And you can, like they were also explaining, comparing to the other, to the recreation, apparently, it looks more flimsy. It's not as tight. With the 1967 one, you can see more tightness. You can see like the muscle. There's like more. It just it looks more real. Like that's a living creature. It's man, to think that somewhere in America or in Canada, basically anywhere in the Northern America, there's like these giant creatures just roaming in the forests. That is so fucking cool. That is so fascinating. I would love to one day just go out there and explore and just hear like a roar of some creature you never heard before, or see a fucking footprint. That would be something crazy. Man, that would be cool. Ugh.
skepticism is healthy, the available information currently suggests that this footage is indeed a genuine encounter with a Sasquatch. So there's a whole lot more evidence in support of the Patterson-Gimlin film being authentic that I didn't cover here. I've covered some of it in a previous video, and I'll leave the link to that in the description below if you're interested. If you found this video interesting and informative, please give it a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to show me even more support and contribute to future projects, I'll leave a link to the Buy Me a Coffee page I have set up in the description below. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for having us. So this is Cabin in the Woods. Definitely go and check out his channel. Give him a like, give him some support, subscribe to him. Please subscribe to me too. Like and share my video. I would appreciate that. Yeah, guys, so that was my reaction to the... What was the video called?
End quote. However,
Bigfoot proof. Why it wasn't a suit. Yeah, guys, so that was a really interesting video. I mean, over the years, I kind of go back and forth on Bigfoot, whether he might be real or fake, or maybe they're just confusing these sightings with big giant bears, you know, grizzly bears and stuff like that. And there's this whole theory about Bigfoot being this like, extra dimensional being that kind of teleports in and out of our reality. I don't know. I think more than likely, if they are real, they are definitely animals or beings that reside in our own existence. I don't think they're probably potentially, jumping in between other dimensions, but who the fuck knows? I mean, you can't judge a book by its cover just because it's a furry animal with, naked running around, that they don't have advanced technology or something like that. I mean, who am I to judge? But still, I definitely always go back and forth. But this video kind of like made me feel like that 1967 video definitely holds some it definitely leans more to the possibility that that footage is genuine, and whoever recorded that video, who saw Sasquatch, was definitely the real deal. And knowing that that's a strong possibility that it was for sure possibly Sasquatch makes it way fucking cool. Like, it just makes me... It pushes me more to believe that this world is way more than what we give it credit for. We get sidetracked with our mundane, normal existence of life, bills, work, school, paying taxes, and sometimes we forget to realize that there's something more to this world than we even realize. Like, I always think about that the people in control, wherever they are, the system, whatever it is, rich people, corporations, governments, there's definitely a sort of like manipulation of our reality through propaganda, through entertainment, all that stuff, to kind of keep us out of the loop and distracted from what really is going on, here on planet Earth, even, what goes on in Antarctica, our oceans, beyond the stars, aliens, everything, even of our own history as well. Who are we? Where are we? What are we doing here? What's the point of all this? How come we still don't know exactly where we came from? We know that we evolved out of Africa and all that, but there's still so many gaps into that history. And I feel like a lot of the research done into our history is, there's a lot of missing information. And I know there is. I know that there's way more to this than meets the eye. And hopefully one day we can find out, and hopefully maybe by discovering Sasquatch, hopefully by learning who exactly Sasquatch is, what's their species, maybe we can find a connection between them and us, and maybe we can sort of like maybe find more information of who exactly are human beings, because there's no question about that. We are a very, very interesting species. We're the only species that requires a lot of delicate care as opposed to any other animal on this planet. For God's sakes, we gotta wear sunscreen out in the sun just to protect ourselves from the UV rays. I don't know if there's any other animals that require that much attention. Like, oh, you can't be, like, don't let your animal dog out there for too long, or any other animals, that you would imagine that us as the human race, supposedly the more superior race of, this entire planet, who has evolved to create technology, iPhones, gone to the moon, for God's sakes, that our species hasn't developed some sort of like protection or to be able to withstand just simple UV rays, or just, I don't know. You get what I'm trying to say. I'm sure there's people out there that probably wonder the same thing, but yeah, there's a lot more to say, but I'll leave that for another video. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for if you managed to watch the whole way through to the very end right now, I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Really would appreciate that. Trying to see what I can do here. But if anything, I'm kind of challenging myself to kind of create this channel by getting out of my comfort zone, kind of, go beyond what I normally do. I'm a big time introvert, so this is definitely something out of my comfort zone, but here I am trying to do it. See what happens, and well, you never know. Future is so uncertain, but you always got to make sure you have control of it, and always change what you can control. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.